Okay, fellas. So the Tate brothers were arrested today in Romania um, on some allegations, same as before. Um, most likely, most likely, most likely, it's the same thing as before. They'll be out in about a day or so. We know that Andrew has been skyrocketing in his message that he's pushing out, and there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people hating on him, a lot of people who don't like him because he's speaking the truth. And unfortunately, I don't want to say it's catching up to him, but people will do these things to discredit you. So let's hear what happened today, and who is the young lady that put him in this situation. Let's go.
Let me resize this as well. All right, let's pretend like I'm a professional. There we go. Odd timing. Andrew Tate has been arrested within 24 hours of getting in a Twitter spat with the world's most beloved activist, Greta Thunberg.
See, so this is the problem. Snowflake, man, snowflake over a simple argument on Twitter. All right, let's get into it.
I think this is kind of odd timing is that, Andrew Tate's done some bad things in the past, and all of a sudden some new allegations come out within the last 24 hours. And of course, he picked a fight with what many might consider the world stage's youngest activist. She's pushing many of the same messages that many governments are, and that's probably a bad thing for Andrew Tate to do. This is kind of breaking stuff here. This is literally from 15 minutes? Yeah, 15 minutes ago. Andrew Tate detained by Romanian authorities just 24 hours after online fight with WEF's Greta Thunberg. $10 million in cash seized from home along with Bitcoin wallets. Now, I'm not saying the guy's a saint. I'm saying he's done some shady things in the past, but supposedly they were investigated and there were no problems found. All of a sudden, some new claims come out and now he's in trouble. This is why you got to kind of keep your head down a little low. And while he's doing, while he's out there earning millions from his videos and everything, he's going to get attention for it. It's from the Post Millennium. Breaking: Andrew Tate detained for 24 hours in Romania after police raid. They say on Thursday, which is today, Tate and his brother Tristan were reportedly detained following a raid, according to the Romanian outlet Libertate. The Tates were detained for 24 hours following a raid conducted by the Directorate for investigating organized crime and the isms, Terries, or DII-COT. They have some video here I'll play for you real quick. And you can see he's being perp walked out by a bunch of masked guys and tossed in the back of a car. Now, I don't know, when I was in Romania, I've been to Romania. Romania is a little fast and free on some of their laws. Most notably that you could get scammed in a bazillion different ways from women in bars. And I think the big thing while I was there was that you'd go into a bar, pretty girl would sit down, she'd ask you for a couple drinks, and then when the tab came, it was an extreme amount of money, several hundreds of dollars, and she was working in collaboration with the bar owner, and if you refused to pay it, they would threaten you with beating you up, stealing your passport, stealing your money from you, and they would kind of extort you for paying it. So let's just say Romania's, and the police never did anything about it, so let's just say
music licensing.
Right, so Romania is, it's not a first world country. So in most, if not all, of the third world countries, there's always these kind of small corruption things happening, Either you can buy your way around the system or you can buy your way through the system. Either or. But once you have money in these countries, you can, so to say, flex the law to your likings. All right, let's get into it.
Romania is not necessarily on the top of the honesty list. They say footage shows one of the brothers being escorted from a building by BSIJ, special forces in handcuffs, being placed in a car. They're being investigated for the human trafficking. Tate, a former kickboxer turned media personality, said in the past that he and his brother made millions using webcam girls to sell sob stories. From the Mirror, Andrew said one model they took to Bucharest used the name Chloe. Viewers were then told she was in London, making her seem more attainable to UK men. Andrew added $4 a minute to keep her company was a great deal. However, she made her real money because men fell in love with her and believed her fake story and tipped thousands to keep her attention and stop other men seeing her. Even when the face of the personality was sleeping, our girl behind the scenes would use Chloe's phone and constantly work on the relationships with her, quote, boyfriends. It's a total scam. The model just had their hands on a keyboard that isn't even plugged in. I have real professionals who are fluent in English behind the scenes, getting men hooked, finding out their interests and the name of their dog. Tate's estate had previously been raided in April 2022 after Romania authorities believed that a tip that an American woman may have been held there against her will. He was released.
Right. So in April, they raided his home. You know, some guy called. He was jealous. His girlfriend was in there having a party with them. He called the cops, told the cops that his girl was being held captive. The cops showed up. They spoke with the girl. The girl explained to the cops that she's not being held against her will. They went over the camera footage, and they showed the girl went outside, goes outside, gets on her cell phone, enters back the house, and have a ball the rest of the night. You know, but I guess when she left the house, she called her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was upset that she was there, so he called the SWAT. This is allegedly, you know, what happened. Let's get into it.
They're being questioned, interrogated, and would later tell Tucker Carlson during the interview that it was an instance of a swatting. They say this is breaking and will be updated. So let's just say this much. I know many of you guys have kind of supported him a little bit and said, hey, you know what? I think his message is good for young men. I have no arguments with many of his messages. Others have said he got rich by being, you know, kind of a criminal and did some bad things and maybe exploiting women, and that's also bad, which I would agree with. The previous investigation, it was found to be a nothing burger, and I have a couple more stories I'm going to add on to this. But here's the big thing. When you get a certain amount of power and money and things like that, and you're trying to brag about yourself and trying to put yourself out there so you can get more young men interested in how to make money like you and live the lifestyle that you're living, the problem is when you make that money kind of, we'll say, in a shady way or in a questionable way, so much so that you decide to put yourself out there bragging about it and maybe even confessing to doing crimes or at least, again, kind of shady stuff. Don't be surprised when all of a sudden you're in the spotlight for getting in an argument with the WEF's, golden child, Greta Thunberg, and all of a sudden the hammer comes down on you again. Now, this other story here, this is from the Lad Bible. They go down through here and they say that Artlist.io. They seized the money and everything, and they were at his address for about 5 hours. And let me see if there was. They implemented 5 home search warrants in a case in which investigators, under the aspect of committing crimes and all the snuggle struggle and all the other bad things, and they said he's been under investigation since this April, but supposedly that was closed. I don't know if they're reopening it. And they kind of go on and talk about the other things and the other things as far as him. What's the word I'm looking for? The story I just talked about, where he had done the cam business stuff. And this other story says that he wasn't really arrested, but he's being held in Bucharest, will be detained for 24 hours. It's reported that the U.S.
So that's the thing that they do. They detain people. Even here in America, they detain you when they can't arrest you. So they detain you to keep you from escaping. Meanwhile, they try to pin something on you or try to figure out, something to actually arrest you about. So they searched his house for 5 hours. As the reports say, they got $10 million in cash, some wallets with bitcoins, and they are detaining them for 24 hours. So they're detaining him, but they're not arrested.
He received a complaint that a woman with American citizenship is being held at their home without consent. Now, again, I don't see him at his status and his money and his current, I don't know, status is, I guess, the best word I'd use for it. I don't see that actually happening. We'll know more as the story continues to come out. Is this another attempted case of swatting? Is this maybe the global leaders and those that are all in on Camp Climate coming down on him and saying, hey, you know what, you picked on the wrong person? It just seems really odd timing. Now, granted, it could be a swatting bad timing, or it could be that maybe he just kind of ticked off the wrong people. And then this is another article. This is where I actually got the thumbnail photo from. And it kind of says the same stuff that he got in these arguments. And here's the thing. If you look at Greta Thunberg, you'll just reading down this article, this wiki article, which I know Wikipedia is not the best source in the world. They have hundreds of citations here for all. She's got a bigger page than most sitting members of Congress, world leaders, etc. I mean, for the awards and all the articles that they took this information of, she's got 290 citations. And if you go through the list of awards and accomplishments that she's gotten, I mean, it's several pages long, I think.
Right. So basically, this is someone with a lot of power. You get where this is going? So this is someone with a lot of power, and
music licensing reimagined.
Basically he stepped on her toes.
Whether Andrew Tate is good guy, bad guy, guilty of something, I think he's going to keep poking the bear enough, they will find something on him. And even again in Romania, where it's kind of questionable and you can maybe buy your way out of a couple of bad situations or you grease the right palms, I think he's barked up a big enough tree that and again, this is purely speculative. He might be out in 3 hours from now, and there's an update to the story. But I think when you poke a big enough bear, especially when you start getting into politics and you start getting into this global stuff where you're going against their narrative, and you pick on the wrong person, they're going to come down on you with a sledgehammer. And I think
music licensing reimagined.
So that's basically what it is, He stepped on the toes of someone who has a lot of power. But everyone who knows Tate, they know that he just doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit. And I don't blame him for that. Stand up for what you stand up for. Anyways, I'll update you guys on anything new coming up. Subscribe, like the channel, leave a comment. Thank you.